Welcome back to The Ed Show. This is one of the greatest lies ever told. The Republicans, they want every American to think this more than anything else, that President Obama is a classic tax and spend liberal. That's what they want you to believe. But here's the truth. Under President Obama, taxes have hit a 30-year low, in part because of tax cuts enacted by the president as part of the stimulus package. Average tax rates are lower than they were under President Ronald Reagan, Bush 41, and Bill Clinton. And, of course, Bush 43, President George W. Bush. That's the truth. These numbers come from the Congressional Budget Office, and it's true of incomes and all federal taxes absolutely combined. Now, under President Obama, taxes are at a 30-year low, despite what Tea Partiers would really want you to believe. Heck, that's what the Tea Party's about. Taxed enough already. Here's what I want you to do. Do me a favor. Just do Big Eddie a favor one time. The chart that we just showed you, it's on our website. Send the chart to 4 of your conservative friends. It's on our blog at ed.msnbc.com. Send it to Fred, who showed up at the barbecue that we talked about last week. I mean, the chart goes through 2009, and since then, President Obama has lowered taxes even more by signing the payroll tax cut. Now, of course, this hasn't stopped Republicans from complaining about taxes under the president's watch.
And it sounds to me like the same old policies that we've seen. More spending, higher taxes.
When they say revenue, they mean higher taxes.
But I do disagree with the notion that somehow we need to hike taxes.
We don't have this problem because we tax too little.
We see permanent tax increases put into effect in order to pay for temporary spending.
The last thing we should be doing is raising taxes on the economy.
You can't tax the very people that you expect to reinvest in the economy and to grow jobs.
If you send the signal that you say to all the job creators, hey, we're just going to tax you even more.
Saying that for America to be competitive in the 21st century, we need lower tax rates.
I'll tell you what, I think the Republicans have to come out tomorrow and say that the Congressional Budget Office, they're totally not credible. And we just should listen to them, the Republicans. Some of these Republicans whining was in response to the president's pledge to let the Bush tax cuts expire for the top 2%, but tax rates would still be at a record low. President Obama has had to combat the lie time and time again with the facts.
I know you hear a lot of folks on cable TV claiming that I'm this big tax and spend liberal. Next time you hear that, you just remind the people who are saying it that since I've taken office, I've cut your taxes. Your taxes today, the average middle-class family, your taxes today are lower than when I took office. Just remember that.
Let's turn to Democratic strategist Chris Kofinas. I tell you what, Chris, I cannot wait for the debates. I mean, the numbers are the numbers and the lies are the lies. How does this play for the Democrats?
Well, I think it could play really well. I mean, this is a mythology that Republicans have been beaten Democrats about for years. But, you know, as the CBO kind of pointed out, I think in a very kind of dramatic way, you know, this notion that Barack Obama is Che Guevara when it comes to taxes is a myth. He's actually more Ronald Reagan. In fact, Ronald Reagan is more Che Guevara. So, you know, this is the irony. You know, the president, I think, and Democrats have cut taxes. In fact, when you, as you pointed out, up to 2009, but when you go past 2009, we passed the payroll tax extension twice. We extended the Bush tax cuts. He's calling for another middle-class tax cut. So this mythology is just blatantly false. It's a lie.
I'll answer my own question. I don't think most Americans get this. I think that they have done such a great job of painting this picture and this image of President Obama raising taxes because that's all they say, that people are believing it. Here's President Obama talking about a typical middle-class family.
But we were talking about how over the last 4 years, because of policies my administration put in place, we've been able to offer the McLaughlins about $4,900 in tax relief.
I mean, does the president need to do more of this, drive this theme home, drive this point home?
I mean, I think he has to. I mean, partly because it has become clearly the narrative in this election, in part because you have, you know, Mitt Romney's incredibly wealthy individual. He won't release his taxes. He has this tax cut, you know, philosophy that will just explode the deficit and add over $5 trillion. So you've got to hammer in. You've got to make this a choice. And the choice is whether you're going to stand up for the middle class or not. And I think the tax cut argument and all the different policies that Democrats are fighting for helps reinforce that.
And here's the other thing. The Republicans love to tell the American people, oh, we're the champions of small business. See what the president said today? The White House wants to increase the write-off for small businesses up to $250,000. This will help defeat the Republican talking points. But let's talk about business for just a moment. If you buy a piece of equipment now, a tractor, a truck, or whatever, the whole thing can be written off in 2013. That is going to go right to the bottom line for small businesses. I mean, the truth is the truth. Republicans keep lying about this stuff. The question is, will it defeat the Republican talking points? And are the Democrats going to be good enough and smart enough to get on the same page when they go home and campaign in August? Chris, you got the floor.
Well, here's the challenge. As you kind of played out in your rundown, Republicans are incredibly on message when it comes to taxes and have been so for years.
Yeah.
And I think we try to do more of a nuanced argument. And the fact is, it shouldn't be nuanced. We cut taxes, and we cut taxes for the middle class.
Period.
We've done it every single year, period. That is our message.
Yeah.
If you want middle-class tax cuts, you're going to vote for Democrats. If you want tax cuts that are going to go to the wealthiest few, vote Republican. It's really that simple a choice.
Chris Kafanis, great to have you with us on The Ed Show. Thanks. Coming up, he's the tax haven candidate. Find out how Mitt Romney and his friends are making their fortune. I'll show you what's really costing you and the country next. And President Obama wants to keep tax rates the same for 98% of the American people. Meanwhile, Republicans are worried about the top 2%. Our panel will weigh in on that. Stay with us.